Okay, so today I'm going to try to teach you as best I can how to paint a power sword. I just came up with a formula for it today, to be honest. Or not today, a few days ago, but it looked decent, so we'll try it. I'm using Corax White as a base. Note, the only reason I need it as a base is because I prime in black, so obviously, will you stay standing, please? Obviously this is not going to show up the grace on a black prime, I think. Oh well. So that's what this is for. If you have a white prime, you might not need it. I'm also using these two Army Painter colors. This will be the other prominent blue you see here, being the slightly lighter one, while the contrast is the darker one. I really need to clean the paint off my nails. And I will be using this as more of the lightning effect. So these are the paints. This is the rough order. I guess these ones can be swapped either way, but this one's last, this one's first. That's how I'm doing it. This is the setup I have to hold up my phone, so sorry about the poor video quality, but I'm hopefully going to be able to show you how to paint some hopefully at least decent looking power swords. So go right over here and we can get to painting. So obviously, like I said, start with Corax White. I'm using just an Army Painter brush for this. So I'm just going to do the one side of the sword, just because it's the same concept on either side. You are going to just give the whole thing a base coat of white. This, again, this is mostly just for the contrast paint. You probably won't need it if you use a white prime. However, it'll probably just help if you also might do like different shade of white with a prime. So maybe the Corax White just looks a bit better. It's truly up to you. Just remember, paint will never hurt a model. You can always be painted over or removed. So don't be afraid to experiment with your stuff. Otherwise, I wouldn't be painting this painting guide. If you do prime your stuff black like I do, make sure you get at least a decently solid white coat over this. You don't really want to see too much like shading through. This is fine. This is fine. You're not going to really have a problem with this. So leave it at that. Another reason I use Corax White is it dries pretty quickly. So it just allows for things to stay moving. So I'm going to move over using Telzar Blue. And this is how I was told to do it, is to make little squares. So I'm just going to do my best here with this old brush and just do my best to keep some straight lines. Not the end of the world if you mess it up. This is, again, just paint. And also, technically, in the end, this is all going to get blended together anyways. So it helps if you try to keep your boxes at least around similar sizes. Again, if you bleed over a little bit, not the end of the world. Nobody's really going to care. It's your model. You may be happy with what, yeah. And yeah, just touch it up. Get to a point where you're happy with. Like, I'm not very happy with this front sword. I don't think I waited long enough for the front here to dry. That's just me being impatient, but everything else on this looks good. So I'm going to move over to the next paint, which is Tidal Blue. Here's this, if you want to see it. I will also be showing the paints again at the end of the video, just so you can get a good mental image. And now, as knowledge will dictate, you are now just going to paint in the other white areas with this. And if you can, do your best to blend the areas together, make it look a bit more cohesive, and it'll just help it look a lot better. And obviously using this paint can help you fix some of the bleed overs, and also bleed overs aren't really a bad thing because it gives you more paint to mix with. It might just make the transition look slightly better. Honestly, it's not the end of the world if you make any bleed overs when painting this, because stuff is going to get mixed in the end anyways. So there's that. Blend the paints together along the edges as best you can. It's not too big of a deal if you're not the greatest at blending. I'm not either. So you should end up with something like this. This is where you will want to let the paint dry for a second before you go in with Hydra Turquoise to make like the more lightning bolt streaks, if you can see what I'm referring to on this camera. So I'm going to try to move on to this now. Hopefully I've waited long enough. I am just a very ADHD oriented guy, and I don't like sitting around. So I'm just going to take the brush and lightly drag it over some areas. It's okay if they are thin. This is also honestly what I found is having more of a frayed brush might be nice in a situation like this, because some of the frayed bristles and stuff might make cool little patterns and stuff. So I'm going to call that good. My hands are not the steadiest right now, but if I take him off the paint handle and I set him next to some of my other power weapons, see, it doesn't look too bad, in my opinion. Could definitely have done the end of it better, but you know what? Not the end of the world. So there you go. That's my guide to how to paint a power sword. Again, like I said, these are the paints I use. Corax White, you can see that there. Tilizar Blue, Tidal Blue, Ferrari Painter, and Hydra Turquoise, Ferrari Painter. So there you go. For those who are new to the hobby, this Citadel will eventually be swapped over to looking like this style, Warhammer color. Hooray. Thank you, GW. But yeah, so I have 2 Warhammer paints, 2 of these. 4 if you solely paint with Army Painter or you don't like using Citadel stuff, you can use matte white in place of Corax White. I haven't really done too much testing, but in the end it's just going to be used to stain over. I do not have a alternative for this one yet. I just don't have another blue like that. So as of right now, this is the only one I can use. If you guys find anything that's an alternative, write down in the comments. Anyways, thanks for watching. Hopefully the audio is decent on this video. Not very loud today. And that's how you paint a power sword or weapon.